Alrighty, hey there guys, Adrian Casa here, KJ95, coming at you guys with another video. So in this video, guys, it is going to be a video that I have been wanting to do for quite some time. It's basically, how to identify each coverage that you are facing pre-snap and basically, stuff of that nature. And, we're going to be going through it in every type of formation, like every type of, style of formation you can be going with. So compression sets like, wing pair, not wing pair, like deuce close, single back, bunch X nasty, tight Y off flex, and then other ones like, bunch and stuff of that nature. We'll also talk about how it looks in standard double sets, as well as in trips sets, and even some 4x1 sets, since those are brand new this year for a lot of playbooks. I think there weren't many teams that have 4x1 playbook sets until this year. So if you guys want to see more content like this, let me know in the comment section below. Also hit the like button below and subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. So let's start off with one thing I'm going to showcase to you guys is this video. It does not work if your opponent has turned on base align. If your opponent has turned on base align, it doesn't matter what coverage they're calling because you're going to get the same look each and every time. So for example, we'll call cover 3 hard flat, for instance. Now you see this is what it looks like, right? You're going to get this exact look that you're seeing every single time. And it doesn't matter what coverage that they're calling. You see the yada, yada, yada. We'll just throw this to K9. So yeah, you see that, and then we'll pick another play, just to showcase to you guys once again. So we'll do the same play, but again we're base aligned, so we'll go with cover 4 palms this time. You see, it's the exact same look, right? It doesn't really matter what formation or what play call you have. It is the exact same look each and every single time. So if your opponent is doing this video is not going to help you because, quite frankly, you're never going to be able to figure it out. So instead, you're going to have to use your post-snap reads and trust in that in order to figure out what your opponent is doing. So starting off in a doubles set. So we'll go to doubles Y off Pats. Now we'll take off baseline. So if you see go to Overstorm Brave cover 0. Now what you're going to notice is that the deep safeties, the guys that are supposed to be playing the deep safety roles, those guys are going to be about 10 yards towards the line of scrimmage, right? They're going to be standing at about 10 yards into closer to the line of scrimmage. You're also going to have the outside cornerbacks backed off at about 6-7 yards, give or take. I think that's about 8 yards. Yeah, that's about 8 yards. So they're going to be backed off about 8 yards off the line of scrimmage. Now, this is going to be important for the backing off of the coverage later on for the cornerbacks. But another way you could tell is by putting one of the outside receivers on a streak. Now, if the cornerback is shaded inside like this, chances are it is a cover 0. But the dead giveaway mainly for cover 0 is the fact that the safeties are on the line or at 10 yards at the line of scrimmage, right? There is no other way up around it, right? It doesn't really matter what, the shading and whatnot. Now, they could press and whatnot, but by then you're going to be able to figure it out. Okay, this is what they've called, yada, yada, yada. So snap the ball. You see the cover 0 blitz. We'll just get this ball out hot to Noah Fant. Done. Right? Now, that's definitely, probably the easiest thing to figure out is just if you're playing cover 0, just look at the safeties. That's going to be a big thing especially for your post-snap reads, but for pre-snap, it's a little bit different at times. Okay? So now let's go into a trip style set and we'll look at cover 0 that way. And it's basically a similar look. You're going to see that the safeties are off the ball about 10 yards. But one thing you do notice, if you guys did notice it from the doubles type of sets, the slot corner is not lined up directly behind the safety. Sometimes in a 0 blitz, especially if it is a nickel blitz, for instance, I'll showcase that here in like a trip style set. Especially if it's a nickel type of blitz, you're going to notice that the safety that is playing man on this receiver, that cornerback is going to be lined up directly, like that cornerback, the safety that lined up behind that cornerback is going to be directly in front of them. So that is obviously a dead giveaway. That is a safety blitz. Obviously, also you could tell this is man coverage because obviously the outside cornerback that would normally be about where the side where I'm, the corner route is, I'm showcasing for Noah Fant. He's obviously over by Tyler Lockett playing his man assignment. So that's a great way to tell if it is what type of 0 blitz it is, if they're going to be sending the nickel back or if they're going to be sending the linebackers. Now, obviously, sometimes they'll send 5 and then just user, but more often than not, that is the basic tell you're going to get for your for your trip style sets for like cover zero and stuff of that nature. We'll go to bunch type sets, and it's kind of a similar situation. Look, whatever, the corners are off a little bit, but you can see the outside corner on this side of the field is actually lined up a little bit closer. He's actually lined up about 5 yards off the ball, but you definitely want to keep an eye out on this receiver right here on the outside. That's definitely one thing I want you guys to focus on, is look at the outside receiver at times, the outside corner, because the outside corner, or the wide corner, the boundary corner as it's called, will be a very, very good giveaway. I know some people say look at the nickel corner and whatnot, and that's good, but I do think boundary corners are definitely a better giveaway for a coverage than the slot corner. So you see again right here, you get the deal. If there's, yada yada yada. So now we'll move on to cover one. So cover one is very similar, but it is a little different. So we'll go into a double set, and we'll call cover one, obviously cover one hold. I don't know what happened there, but you're gonna see again the corners are lined up back off the line of scrimmage. The outside, the boundary corners are lined up about 8 yards off the ball, give or take. But you're gonna notice though that there is now one high safety in the back there. You're gonna see in the deep middle of the field there is a one high safety. So that is a very good indicator that this is not a cover zero. This is definitely a cover one man look or a cover three sky look. But the one thing that you want to look at for the decipher if this is cover one or cover three is the nickel corner. Now I know I talk about the boundary corners and whatnot, but when we get to the cover three aspect, you're going to see why it is a little bit different. But when it comes to the nickel corner, what you're going to do and what you're going to notice is if you put the corner on a streak, he's actually going to be going right through his leg. So he's going to be shaded about maybe even inside with the cornerback, which is pretty nice. But which is a good indicator if it is cover one or cover three. Whereas if you look for a cover three type of look, you're going to notice if you do that same method that the streak is actually outside of the left foot, which is going to be our right, but the left foot of the slot corner. So that definitely is a little bit of an interesting small detail, sure, a small detail to look out for if you are playing somebody who loves running single high defenses quite a bit. You definitely want to look at that to see if you're facing a cover one, you see if you're playing a man or if your opponent is playing zone. So now, before we get too deep into the cover three, let's look at cover one in a trip style look. So a trip style look, definitely a little bit more different. However, one thing you're going to notice right off the bat is the outside corner here. He's actually lined up off the ball a little bit more. Like he's actually lined up. Oh, I actually cannot hot route in this play. Okay, let's just change that one. But you're going to see that he's actually lined up off the ball a little bit more, and he's actually shaded inside. And it's the same type of shading with the cover two, with the nickel corner. So yeah, and obviously again for man coverage purposes, this cornerback Richard Sherman is over here manning up against Tyler Lockett. Whereas if it is a cover three in a trip style set, so if we go to pick another play here, we go to a cover three look. You're going to notice that the corner, obviously, that is supposed to be manned up on Tyler Lockett, that was manned up on Tyler Lockett on the first play, he's not manned up directly in front of him anymore. So that's a dead giveaway right there if you're running a trip style set, if your opponent is playing cover one or if they're playing cover three. Definitely a good one right there. And then also you can do the same method as you did with the double set before, where you can definitely put a streak through the slot corner and see if it's on and it goes between his legs or if it goes to the outside the left foot of the cornerback. So that's definitely one way you can do it for trip style sets. And then lastly, going into bunch style sets, this is where you have to look at the outside corner. I think outside corners for a bunch style set are a very, very good indicator for this type of a defense. Now, obviously, it can be a little bit more difficult for, deciphering between man and zone and a cover three style defense compared to a cover one against a bunch type of set. But one thing I would recommend is looking at the shading of this cornerback, where Tyler Lockett is matched up one. You see I'm motioning him out. You look at the shade right there. He actually was playing with his outside shoulder, how they play outside leverage and whatnot with that. So you definitely can look at that corner if you want. You also I think you can do the same cornerback type of method here with this streak. So you can put him on a streak there and it's in the middle right there. where for a bunch style set for cover three, whereas if you're in a cover one, it is, you see actually it's a quite noticeable difference right away. If it is a cover one, you see the nickel corner is automatically right up in the line of scrimmage pressing the slot receiver, and I actually didn't even have it set to cover one press. He just did it all on his own. This is just by the way that this is aligned, coded for alignment. And you're also going to see, if you, I don't know if you guys saw that, but we'll do this just real quick. You're also going to notice that the box safety that comes down, so like it'll be Eric Berry in this case, he comes down and he actually comes to the side of the bunch. So again, another good giveaway right there that it is a bunch, that it is a cover one style play. So that way you're not having to, figure out, oh, is this cover three or is this cover one? Single high defenses are a lot easier to figure out than your typical two high defenses. Now speaking of two high defenses, let's go into the two high defensive structures for cover two and all that stuff. So again, we'll go into a double set and we'll go into cover two. So we'll go cover two hard flat. Now, first thing you're going to notice immediately is the cornerbacks are a bit of a different depth. They're at the 5 yard, they're 5 yards off the ball. So you see we're at the 30-yard line. The outside corners are going to be shaded. Well, one, they're going to be shaded outside. So if you actually put a streak through, like Richard Sherman, if you look on the side where Metcalf is, you see the ball, the streak goes right by his right foot, which would be our left. So that is an indicator right there that it is cover two, right? So it's going to be, and also, for the shading purposes. Then you also go to the outside, go to the alignment of the two cornerbacks, and you're going to notice right away that they're at 5 yards off the line of scrimmage, which is a common thread you're going to notice with cover two defenses. Doesn't matter if it's hard flat or cloud flat or sink. They are good, which is soft squats. They are gonna be shaded outside on double sets. So again, for verticals, instead of cover two hard flat, we'll call Tampa two. And again, same thing, same deal. You're gonna notice that again, they are very much the same. So again, cover two, similar setup, really not much of a different look whatsoever. Now, in terms of comparing this to a trip style set, we'll go to a trips tight end set and we'll go cover two once again. It's kind of similar in that sense. But the thing is, obviously, the cornerbacks are, the outside corner again is very similar. So you can definitely decipher it still pretty easily if you look at this cornerback right here, that he is shaded outside. So you can definitely just look at that and be like, okay, yeah, this is cover two, yada, yada, yada. We'll go with one run, whatever. Right, yada, yada. So, next, we'll go to bunch style sets. Again, same deal for the most part. If we go to a cover two, Tampa 2, again, same kind of deal. Just look at the outside corner of opposites of the bunch side. You can get your tell right there. Or if you really, really want, another thing you can do is you can motion one of the receivers, like the outside, this receiver out, and you can get a good tell that way if you're not sure about that outside corner there. So that is definitely something you can do as well. And then obviously for like tight sets, I don't know if I've done tight sets or whatnot, but the idea is the same for the most part. You see for cover two, yes, they may not be directly in front of the receivers, but they are still at the 5 yard depth for cover two type of defenses. Where as in cover three, it is kind of like a similar deal for them. So cover three defense, again, 8 yards off the ball, the single high defense, yada yada yada, the stuff of that nature. And then cover one man. Sorry, I completely forgot to do this earlier. So cover one hole, you see they're actually, the nickel corners actually lined up directly in front of the receiver. If you put a streak right through his legs, and same with the tight end. If you put a streak right through, it should go right through their legs, and that should be a good indicator that it is a cover one man type of look. And then lastly, cover zero, again, just showcasing that. Obviously, the safeties being 10 yards off the ball. So that's how that looks for cover one, cover two, and cover, and some other single high defense. But let's look at cover four, for example, right? So now we'll go back into a double set and we'll look at cover four palms. Okay. So in cover four palms, you're going to notice that the outside corners are off the ball about 8-ish yards. Now it's very similar to a cover three situation. However, this is two high defenses. So you're not going to really see a whole lot of two high defenses that are cover three like this and have the same shading unless they're base aligned, which, as I've already mentioned in the beginning of the video, if they're not base aligned, if they are base aligned, then you're going to get the same look. But obviously, you're not really worried about that because they're not. So a good tell for this is to put the streak again, do the streak method as I'm going to call it because I think that's what it is called. Right through. If it goes to the outside left foot, our left, his right foot, then more than likely it is quarters or a variation of a cover four type of a deal. Normally you really don't see a whole lot of any changes and whatnot. Like sometimes they'll press and whatnot. Also, the safeties are about 15-ish yards away from the ball, about 14, 15 yards off the ball, in the deep field, and they'll obviously play a quarter type of defense. If we go to a trip set, once again, look as I was talking about, look at cover four palms again. It's a very similar look. Sometimes this backer here will come out and look like he's manned up against the receiver here. But if you do a little bit of a motion, you just bring him over. If you're not sure if it is like man coverage or whatnot, you can obviously just bring, like lock it over. And now, okay, here's my tell. Here's a cover four quarters and shit of that nature, right? So, yeah, you have that for the most part. Again, they're about 15 yards off the ball for the safeties. Bunch style sets, once again, it is very, very similar. We'll call quarters here. Cover four quarters. Again, same deal. They're about 8 yards off the ball. Then the deep safeties are about 14 yards. And if you want to, make sure that you're actually seeing quarters and whatnot, you can motion out this receiver here from a bunch style set, and you see that he automatically goes back to about the same depth as Tariq Woolen. So boom, cover four quarters or a variation of a cover four. Now the next two coverages. Before we get too deep into that, the next two coverages I've saved separately, right? I've saved it a little bit separately for the most part. Again, as you see right here in tight sets, it's a little bit more tricky to figure out. But obviously, if you want to just get your towel, you can just motion out the one of the slot receivers, one of the inside receivers to the outside. Boom, done. Next. All right, so then lastly, we'll showcase cover three cloud and cover six. Now, the reason why I waited till the end to showcase these ones is because these ones are little weird. Like, for whatever reason, especially with cover three cloud, EA has decided to take it and completely give away what the coverage call is in the lamest fucking way possible. So you look at the alignment here. Now, you don't really need to do anything else other than just look at the strong side safety, which is over the top of Metcalf here. You're gonna notice that he's literally like 8-ish yards off the like behind Richard Sherman. I have no clue why EA decided to do this for cover. I guess because they wanted people to be able to distinguish easier what was the difference between cover three cloud and cover six. Because in cover six last year, it looked the same for the most part compared to cover three cloud. But yeah, like you really don't need to do anything for like a double set. That's what you can do for that. For a trip style set, here's what it looks like. Here. So you can see that it is a little bit different. Like the safety is actually back here. However, the outside corner you can see is lined up at 5 yard depth, which is about like the same as you would be for like a Tampa 2 and whatnot. So you have that type of deal. Also, you can see this corner. Oh, I accidentally. I'll just throw it away. I accidentally pressed the A button there. I meant to, showcase it like hot routes and shit like that. But you're gonna notice like on the outside corner here, we'll change this to verticals. You're gonna notice that again he's off the ball like about 8 yards, like he would be in a cover three. But then you see like obviously the cover six corner, the cover three corner over on this side that's playing the flat is lined up at a 5 yard depth. And then if you were to do the streak method again, you see this actually goes out like on the gentleman's right leg, which is our left. Well, our right, his left for that. Then you go to a bunch style set. It's again somewhat similar. I think the only real major difference is the fact that again, okay, no, it's the same as it would be if it's a double style set. Because again, whatever reason, EA decided to massacre it and just make it glaringly obvious that your opponent called cover three cloud. And then again, same deal here. So trip style sets is the only one where it's really confusing. But you definitely can pick up on it really, really fast if you're working quickly. you know And then for cover six, again, cover six, for those that do not know, it's a combination of cover two and cover four. So on the passing strength side of the formation, which is where the most receiving threats are, you're going to see it looks like cover four. And then on the weak side, which is where the less threats are, holy crap, I cannot speak. It'll be looking like a cover two type of defense. Now you can just motion over to change the passing strength of the formation. And obviously, you could see if you motion over, you're going to see that the coverage actually flips itself. Like, you're going to notice, like, you know, the cornerback and whatnot reacts. So the outside corners will swap, you know, kind of like rolls, I guess. So we'll do it one more time. We'll motion out. Motion out here. So you see how Sherman backs off to his cover four depth, and then Reek comes up to the 5-yard depth like he's playing a cover two. So that's one way you can decipher it if you really want to, you know, define if it's cover six for a double style set. For a trip style set, it is the same for the most part. Like, definitely, you know, cover four on one side. It looks like cover three cloud for the most part, but this time I think the outside corner is actually, the slot corner is actually aligned straight through. And if you actually do the streak method, like I've been showcasing to you guys before, we're gonna go ahead and move. I can't really move this guy out of the way, but you're gonna notice that the streak actually of Metcalf goes right through Tariq Woolen, so that's a good indication to figure out if it's cover three cloud or cover six in a trips style look. And then finally in a bunch and a tight kind of deal, so we'll go bunch, cover six. So bunch cover six, you're going to see again the outside corner on the weak side of the formation is going to be playing closer to the line of scrimmage at about a 5-yard depth. But again, if we motion over, bring this guy over, now you're going to see that the role's reversed. He actually follows him, so it makes it look like it's man coverage for the most part, but it really isn't, obviously. You know, it's not it's not man coverage, which definitely can throw you off if you're using motion to figure out coverages. And then lastly, tight slots, cover six formation. You're going to see, once again, outside corner on the right is going to be backed up. Actually, I think this is a little bit backwards, I think. If I motion, let's motion K9 over. Okay, so it's a little bit screwy. But it does look, the premise is still the same, right? The premise is still the same. There's going to be a cornerback on the left where DK Metcalf is. It's going to be lined up outside the numbers and backed off quite a bit, or backed up quite about 8 yards. And then the cornerback on the right is going to be looked off. There's going to be backed up about that yard as well. But if you want to motion out, you most certainly can, and you can make that call, you know, to see right there, okay, this is cover six, so we can just go ahead and drop a cover six match coverage beater. Now there is that. Now, that is basically the end of the video, guys. Obviously, once again, just a reminder, if you guys stuck through all the way to the end, if you guys actually did, hit the like button below and subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. But once again, like I said at the beginning of the video, this does not work when your opponent is base aligned. If your opponent is playing base aligned, none of this video will matter because of the fact that the defense will give you the same exact look each and every play. So that does kind of suck for the most part in that sense. So I hope that you guys, but otherwise, I hope you guys did enjoy. Hit the like button below if you guys did, and subscribe if you guys are new, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm out. Peace.